The kitchen was dark at 6 in the morning when I heard Marta's heels clicking across the hardwood floor. I'd been sitting there for 3 hours, nursing cold coffee, and waiting for this exact moment. The screenshots on my phone glowed in the darkness. 6 months of evidence that would destroy her perfect little world. Will, why are you sitting in the dark? Her voice carried that fake concern she'd perfected over our 15 years of marriage. The same tone she used when talking to clients at the ad agency, all polish and no substance. I didn't answer immediately, just sat there, letting the silence stretch until she shifted uncomfortably in the doorway. Marta Drayton, creative director, Suburban Queen Bee, and apparently Jake Turnbull's favorite afternoon entertainment. Trips canceled, I said finally, my voice flat as roadkill. She froze. In the dim light from the hallway, I could see her processing this, trying to figure out which lie to deploy first. The weekend getaway to Chicago she'd been planning, supposedly with her college friend Rebecca, except Rebecca lived in Phoenix now, and Jake had already booked the same hotel room. What do you mean canceled? I've been planning this for months. Give me your phone. Excuse me? I stood up slowly, enjoying the way she took a half step backward. At 6'2", I had 8 inches on her, and right now I was using every one of them. Phone, laptop, all of it. They're going in the safe, and they're staying there. Her laugh was sharp, nervous. You can't be serious. I need those for work. Lift your dress. The words hung in the air like smoke. Marta's face went white, then red, then white again. She knew, of course she knew. The red lace lingerie set from Victoria's Secret, the one that cost more than our monthly grocery budget, the one she'd never worn for me. Will, I don't know what you think. I think you're wearing red lace panties and a matching bra that I've never seen before. I think you bought them for your little weekend adventure with Jake. And I think you're going to show me, right now, or I'm going to email your entire office the screenshots I took of your sexting sessions. She crumpled. Not physically. Marta was too vain for that, but something inside her just collapsed. Her shoulders sagged, her perfect posture melted, and for the first time in years, I saw the real woman underneath all that expensive makeup. How long have you known? 6 months. Ever since you started working late every Tuesday and Thursday. Funny thing about Jake's gym schedule, he works out on Tuesdays and Thursdays too. Well, he used to. Now he works out with you. I walked around her in a slow circle, like a shark sizing up wounded prey. You want to know what I know? I know he's married. I know his wife Dana is a prosecutor with the district attorney's office. I know she's already suspicious because Jake's been acting weird lately. And I know she's going to be very interested in the video I have of you two in his car last week. Marta's knees gave out. She grabbed the kitchen counter, her perfectly manicured nails clicking against the granite. Video? Oh, sweetheart. You really thought I was that stupid, didn't you? You thought I'd just sit here like a good little husband while you played house with Mr. CrossFit? I pulled out my phone, showed her the screen. This is just one of 12 videos I have. Want to see the others? She shook her head frantically. But wait, there's more. I was enjoying this now, the way her face twisted with each new revelation. I already sent copies to your mother. You remember Magda, right? Your uptight, judgmental, old money mother who thinks I'm beneath you? She's probably watching them right now over her morning coffee. That broke her. Marta slid down the cabinet doors until she was sitting on the floor, designer dress bunched around her thighs. The red lace was visible now, just like I'd said. I took a picture. Smile for your boss, honey. Mrs. Fenton in HR is going to love this. Please, she whispered. Please don't do this. I crouched down next to her, close enough to smell her expensive perfume mixed with fierce sweat. Here's how this works. You're going to do exactly what I tell you, when I tell you, for as long as I tell you. You're going to smile and play the loving wife, and you're going to make this right, or I'm going to destroy you so completely that you'll wish you'd never been born. She looked up at me with mascara running down her cheeks. What do you want? Justice, I said, standing up. And maybe a little entertainment. Next morning, I was in my home office by 7, 3 cups of coffee deep, and feeling more alive than I had in months. Revenge, I'd discovered, was better than any antidepressant. I had spreadsheets open, tracking Marta's every move through the spyware I'd installed on her devices weeks ago. Location data, text messages, email drafts, everything. My phone buzzed. Greg, my best friend since college, and the only person who'd seen through Marta's act from day one. Dude, you sound different, he said when I answered. Good different, like you finally grew a pair. Something like that. I was watching Marta's location dot on my screen. She was at Starbucks, probably crying into a venti latte. Listen, I need a favor. Name it. You still got contacts at that private investigation firm downtown? Greg whistled low. What kind of trouble are you in? Not the kind you're thinking. I need someone who can dig up dirt legally. Background checks, public records, that sort of thing. I know just the person. Rena Martinez, ex-cop, tough as nails, and she hates cheaters. What's the target? I gave him Jake's full name, address, and place of employment. I want to know everything. Financial problems, legal issues, parking tickets, whatever you can find. And I want to know about his wife. His wife? Dana Turnbull. She's a prosecutor. I need to know what kind of cases she handles, what her reputation is, how she reacts to betrayal. Jesus, Will, what did you step in? Nothing I can't handle. Just get me the information. After I hung up, I opened my laptop and started typing. Email drafts to Marta's boss, her coworkers, her mother's bridge club. I wasn't going to send them yet. The threat was more powerful than the execution, at least for now. But having them ready gave me options. My phone chimed with a text from Marta. Please, can we talk about this? I made a mistake, but we can work through it. I laughed out loud. A mistake, like accidentally picking up the wrong coffee order. Not a 6-month affair with a married man. I typed back. Come home for lunch. Wear the red set. The typing indicator showed she was responding, then stopped, then started again. Finally. Okay. Power. That's what this was. For the first time in our marriage, I held all the cards, and it felt incredible. At noon, Marta walked through our front door, looking like she'd aged 5 years overnight. Her usually perfect hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she wasn't wearing makeup. The red lingerie was visible through her white blouse. She'd followed instructions. Sit, I said, pointing to the couch. She sat. Tell me about Jake. Will, please. Tell me about Jake, or I send the videos to Channel 7. I bet they'd love a story about adultery in the suburbs. Very ratings friendly. Her voice was barely above a whisper. We met at the gym 6 months ago. He was charming, funny. He made me feel young again. What else? He's married but says his wife doesn't understand him. They're having problems. I almost laughed. The oldest line in the book, and she'd fallen for it. Did you know Dana Turnbull handles domestic cases? Divorce, custody, asset division? Did you know she's never lost a case involving adultery? Marta's face went white. Oh, you didn't know that? Well, here's something else you don't know. Jake's been cheating on her for 3 years. You're not special, sweetheart. You're just the latest. I showed her my phone screen. Photos of Jake with 2 other women, all taken in the last year. Rena worked fast. He told me I was the only one, Marta whispered. And you believed him, just like you believed he was going to leave his wife for you. I sat down across from her, close enough to see the fear in her eyes. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to text Jake right now and tell him it's over. You're going to delete his number, block him on social media, and never speak to him again. What if he doesn't accept that? That's where it gets interesting. I pulled up another file on my phone. See, I've been busy. I hacked into Jake's car app. You know, that fancy BMW he's so proud of? I can disable it remotely, lock the doors, kill the engine, set off the alarm. Imagine him stuck in traffic, car dead, horns honking, everyone staring. Her eyes widened. But that's just for starters. I've got his gym membership info, his credit card statements, his work schedule. I can make his life very uncomfortable if he doesn't leave you alone. She typed the breakup text with shaking fingers. Jake's response came back immediately. A string of angry messages calling her names I won't repeat. I screenshotted all of them. Well, would you look at that? Jake's true colors. I think his wife would be very interested in seeing how he talks to women. Marta was crying now, quiet tears that didn't smudge what little makeup she had left. What happens now? Now you learn what consequences feel like. I stood up and walked to the window. Our neighbor Sharon was outside watering her garden. Sharon, who ran the neighborhood Facebook group and knew everyone's business. Sharon, who was about to become very useful. Get dressed, I told Marta. We're going for a walk. Yuds, the neighborhood was buzzing with its usual afternoon activity. Kids playing in yards, dogs being walked, the constant suburban symphony of lawn mowers and leaf blowers. Marta walked beside me like a woman heading to her execution, which wasn't far from the truth. Smile, I told her as we approached Sharon's house. You're a happily married woman, remember? Sharon looked up from her roses, her face lighting up with the kind of predatory interest that made her the neighborhood's unofficial gossip central. Will, Marta, how lovely to see you both. Out for a romantic stroll? Something like that, I said, wrapping my arm around Marta's waist. She tensed but didn't pull away. Actually, we wanted to thank you. Thank me for keeping an eye on things while we've been having our little rough patch. You know how it is. Marriage takes work. Sharon's eyes sharpened. She could smell drama like a bloodhound. Oh, I hope everything's all right. It is now, I said, squeezing Marta tighter. Isn't it, honey? Marta nodded, her smile so forced it looked painful. We've learned that some people aren't who they seem to be, I continued. Take Jake Turnbull, for instance. Did you know he's been having affairs? Multiple affairs. Sharon gasped. No, but he seems so devoted to Dana. Appearances can be deceiving. In fact, I have it on good authority that he's been meeting women at hotels, married women. Can you imagine? I felt Marta flinch beside me, but she kept smiling. Well, I never, Sharon said, but her eyes were gleaming. This was gold-plated gossip, and she knew it. I'll have to mention this to the other ladies. We can't have that sort of behavior in our neighborhood. I knew you'd understand. Community standards and all that. We walked away, leaving Sharon already reaching for her phone. By evening, half the neighborhood would know about Jake's affairs. By tomorrow, it would be all over social media. You're destroying him too, Marta said quietly. He destroyed himself. I'm just making sure everyone knows about it. We turned the corner onto Maple Street, where Jake lived with his unsuspecting wife. His BMW was in the driveway, pristine and perfect. I pulled out my phone and opened the car control app I'd hacked into. Watch this. I hit the alarm button. The BMW's horn started blaring, lights flashing like a disco ball. Within seconds, Jake came running out of the house, fumbling with his keys, his face red with embarrassment as neighbors started coming out to see what the commotion was about. I disabled the alarm just as he reached the car. He stood there looking confused and angry, scanning the street for whoever might have caused it. His eyes landed on us, and I gave him a friendly wave. Technical difficulties, I called out. These fancy cars, you never know what might go wrong. He stared at me for a long moment, and I could see the wheels turning. He wasn't stupid. He knew exactly who was responsible, but he couldn't prove it, and he couldn't confront me without explaining why I might want to mess with his car. Come on, I told Marta. Let's go home. You have some emails to write. Back at the house, I set Marta up at the kitchen table with her laptop. I'd temporarily restored her access, but with monitoring software that let me see every keystroke. You're going to resign from your job, I told her. What? Will, no. I've worked there for 8 years. I'm up for partner. You were up for partner. Past tense, because in about an hour, Mrs. Fenton in HR is going to receive an anonymous tip about inappropriate workplace conduct. Specifically, about how you've been using company time and resources to conduct an affair. I showed her the evidence I'd compiled. Screenshots of personal texts sent from her work computer. Location data showing her leaving the office early on days when she claimed to be in meetings. Credit card receipts for hotel rooms charged to her company card. But I never charged hotels to the company card, she protested. No, but Jake did. And since you were there, it looks like collusion. Corporate fraud. Very serious stuff. Her face crumpled. You're ruining my career. You ruined your career the moment you decided to screw around with a married man on company time. I'm just making sure there are consequences. She typed the resignation letter, with tears streaming down her face. Professional, dignified, citing personal reasons for her departure. I made her send it to her boss, HR, and the entire creative team. Now call your mother. Will, please, call her. Marta dialed with shaking fingers. I could hear Magda's voice through the phone, cold and sharp as always. Mother, it's me. I need to tell you something. I listened as Marta tried to explain, tried to minimize, tried to make excuses. But Magda had seen the videos I'd sent. She knew exactly what her daughter had been doing, and her response was swift and brutal. You've disgraced this family. Magda's voice carried clearly through the speaker. Don't call here again until you've sorted out this mess, and don't expect any help from me. The line went dead. Marta stared at the phone like it had bitten her. Tough love, I said. Your mother always was practical. My phone buzzed with a text from Rena. Got something big on Jake. Can you meet tonight? I typed back. On my way. Where are you going? Marta asked. Out. You're staying here. Don't even think about leaving. I'll know if you do. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door, leaving my wife sitting alone at the kitchen table, surrounded by the wreckage of her perfect life. The bar where I met Rena was the kind of place where divorced men went to drink away their alimony payments. Dark, quiet, and nobody asked questions. She was waiting in a corner booth, a thick manila folder in front of her. You're going to love this, she said without preamble. Jake Turnbull is in deep shit, and he doesn't even know it yet. She opened the folder and spread out photographs, documents, bank statements. He's been embezzling from his employer, small amounts, but consistent. About $2,000 a month for the past year. I whistled low. How? Expense account fraud. Fake receipts, inflated travel costs, phantom client dinners. Classic stuff, but sloppy. His company's been doing an internal audit, and they're close to figuring it out. How close? 2 weeks, maybe 3. They've already flagged his accounts for review. This was better than I'd hoped. What about his wife? Dana Turnbull is a pit bull. She's prosecuted 17 domestic cases in the past 2 years, won them all. She specializes in asset recovery and punitive damages. If she finds out about the affairs, she'll take him for everything he's worth. And if she finds out about the embezzlement? Rena grinned. She'll probably prosecute him herself. Conflict of interest be damned. She's that ruthless. I studied the documents, my mind racing. This wasn't just about Marta anymore. This was about complete and total destruction of everyone who'd wronged me. I need you to do something for me, I said. I need you to make sure Dana finds out about her husband's affairs, but it has to look natural, like she discovered it herself. That's easy. Jake's been sloppy with his phone security. A few anonymous tips about where to look, and she'll find everything. And the embezzlement. Leave that to me. I know someone in their accounting department. We shook hands, and I headed home with a spring in my step. Phase 1 was complete. Phase 2 was about to begin, and it was going to be spectacular. When I got home, Marta was exactly where I'd left her, staring at her laptop screen with dead eyes. How was your day, honey? I asked cheerfully. She didn't answer. Mine was great, very productive. I think tomorrow's going to be even better. I poured myself a scotch and sat down across from her. You know what I realized today? I've been thinking about this all wrong. I was angry about the affair, hurt about the betrayal. But really, I should be thanking you. She looked up at me with confusion. You've given me purpose, Marta. For the first time in years, I have a project that excites me. Something that gets me up in the morning and keeps me energized all day. So thank you. Thank you for showing me what I'm really capable of. Her voice was barely a whisper. What are you going to do to me? I smiled and took a sip of my scotch. Everything you deserve, sweetheart. Everything you deserve. The next morning brought the first real fireworks. I was in my office, monitoring Marta's location. She was at a coffee shop, probably trying to figure out her next move, when my phone rang. Unknown number. Will Drayton. Speaking. This is Dana Turnbull. I think we need to talk. My heart rate spiked, but I kept my voice calm. I'm sorry. Do we know each other? We have a mutual problem. My husband and your wife. Can you meet me for lunch? This was happening faster than I'd expected. Rena worked even better than advertised. Of course. Where? Rossetti's on 5th Street, 1 o'clock. I spent the morning preparing, reviewing all my evidence, organizing it into a presentation that would maximize the damage. Dana Turnbull was about to become my greatest ally, and she didn't even know it yet. Rossetti's was an upscale Italian place, the kind where business deals were made over expensive wine. Dana was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with perfect posture and predatory eyes. She was beautiful in a cold, sharp way, like a knife made of ice. Thank you for coming. Call me Will, and I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. She didn't waste time on pleasantries. How long have you known? 6 months. You? I suspected for weeks, but I only confirmed it yesterday. I found hotel receipts, text messages, photos. Her voice was steady, but I could see the fury burning underneath. I want them both destroyed. I can help with that. I pulled out my phone and showed her the videos I'd taken of Jake and Marta. Her face didn't change expression, but her knuckles went white as she gripped her wine glass. There's more, I said, and showed her the financial records Rena had compiled. Your husband has been embezzling from his company, about $24,000 over the past year. Now her expression changed. The cold fury was replaced by something much more dangerous, professional interest. How did you get this? I hired a private investigator. Everything was obtained legally through public records and legitimate surveillance. She studied the documents with the intensity of a prosecutor building a case. Which, I realized, was exactly what she was doing. This changes things, she said finally. The adultery is personal. The embezzlement is criminal. What are you going to do? I'm going to destroy him. Professionally, financially, personally. When I'm done, he'll be lucky if he can get a job flipping burgers. And Marta, your wife is collateral damage, but if you want my advice, take her for everything in the divorce. I can recommend some excellent attorneys. We spent the next hour coordinating our attacks. Dana would handle the legal aspects. She had contacts in Jake's company who could expedite the embezzlement investigation. I would continue the social destruction, making sure everyone in our circle knew exactly what kind of people Jake and Marta were. There's one more thing, Dana said as we prepared to leave. I want to confront them, together, face to face. When? Tonight. I'll arrange for Jake to meet me at our house. You bring Marta. Let's see how they handle the heat when they can't run away. I smiled. This was going to be better than I'd imagined. When I got home, Marta was pacing the living room like a caged animal. She'd been crying. Her eyes were red and swollen, and she looked like she hadn't slept. We need to go out tonight, I told her. Where? To see Jake and Dana. It's time for everyone to have an honest conversation. The color drained from her face. Will, no, please. Can't we just leave things alone? Leave things alone? I laughed. Sweetheart, we're just getting started. I made her shower and put on makeup, dressed like the successful professional she used to be. If this was going to be her final performance, she was going to look the part. The drive to Jake's house was silent, except for Marta's occasional sniffling. I felt calm, focused, like a surgeon preparing for a delicate operation. Everything was going according to plan. Dana answered the door with a smile that could have cut glass. Will, Marta, please come in. Jake was in the living room, standing by the fireplace with a drink in his hand. He looked confident, probably thinking he could charm his way out of whatever confrontation Dana had planned. He had no idea what was coming. Jake, I said pleasantly. Good to see you again. He frowned, clearly trying to place where he knew me from. Have we met? Not formally, but I feel like I know you very well. I've seen so much of you lately. I pulled out my phone and hit play on one of the videos. The sound of Jake and Marta's moaning filled the room, followed by their post-sex conversation about how boring their spouses were. Jake's drink slipped from his hand and shattered on the hardwood floor. Marta made a sound like a wounded animal. Surprise, Dana said coldly. We know everything. What followed was 30 minutes of the most brutal verbal destruction I'd ever witnessed. Dana laid out Jake's crimes in excruciating detail. The affairs, the embezzlement, the lies. She had dates, times, amounts, witnesses. It was a masterclass in character assassination. Jake tried to deny it, then tried to minimize it, then tried to blame everyone else. Nothing worked. Dana had him dead to rights, and we all knew it. You're going to prison, she told him finally. I'm going to make sure of it personally. You can't prosecute your own husband, he protested weakly. Watch me. I'll recuse myself from the official case, but I'll be feeding information to whoever does handle it. You're done, Jake. Finished. Marta had been silent through most of this, but now she spoke up. What about me? Dana looked at her with contempt. What about you? You're nothing. A middle-aged housewife who threw away her marriage for a few afternoons with a criminal. You're not worth prosecuting. But I am worth divorcing, I added. And since you quit your job yesterday, you won't have much income to show the judge. Meanwhile, I've been documenting every penny you've spent on this affair. Hotel rooms, lingerie, dinners, gifts. The court's going to love that. Jake made one last desperate play. Dana, please. We can work this out. Go to counseling. Start over. She slapped him, hard. The sound echoed through the room like a gunshot. Get out of my house, she said quietly. Get out, and don't come back. Your lawyer can contact mine about the divorce proceedings. Jake looked around the room wildly, like a trapped animal looking for escape. His eyes landed on me, and I saw something dangerous flash in them. This is all your fault, he snarled. You manipulative bastard. You set this whole thing up. I didn't set anything up, I replied calmly. I just made sure the truth came to light. You did this to yourself, Jake. You and Marta both. He took a step toward me, fists clenched, and for a moment I thought he might actually try to hit me. But Dana stepped between us. Don't even think about it, she warned. Assault charges on top of everything else? You're not that stupid. Jake deflated like a punctured balloon. He grabbed his keys from the coffee table and headed for the door, pausing only to look back at Marta. This isn't over, he said. Yes, it is, I replied. It's very over. After he left, the room fell silent except for Marta's quiet crying. Dana poured herself another glass of wine and offered one to me. I accepted. Well, she said, raising her glass, here's to new beginnings. And to justice, I added. We drank, and I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Phase 2 was complete. But I wasn't done yet, Not even close. Nah, the next 2 weeks were a whirlwind of destruction. Jake's company fired him after Dana's contacts in their accounting department discovered the embezzlement. The story made the local business journal, complete with his photo and details about the fraud. His reputation in the industry was finished. Dana filed for divorce and had him arrested the same day. The charges included embezzlement, wire fraud, and tax evasion. His bail was set at $50,000, which he couldn't afford since Dana had frozen all their joint accounts. Meanwhile, I was systematically destroying what remained of Marta's social standing. I leaked carefully edited versions of her texts to the neighborhood Facebook group. Nothing illegal, just embarrassing details about her complaints regarding our marriage, her materialistic demands, and her callous comments about our friends. The response was swift and brutal. Invitations to parties stopped coming. Phone calls went unreturned. Even the grocery store clerks, who'd known her for years, started treating her with cold politeness. But Jake wasn't taking his downfall quietly. He'd been calling and texting Marta constantly, blaming her for his problems, demanding she somehow fix the situation. I'd been monitoring all of it, of course, but I let it continue because it was driving both of them crazy. Then he made his biggest mistake. I was in my office when the doorbell rang, followed immediately by loud pounding. Through the security camera, I could see Jake on my front porch, looking wild-eyed and desperate. He'd lost weight, probably from stress and poor jail food, and his usually perfect hair was greasy and unkempt. I opened the door with a smile. "Jake, what a pleasant surprise. How's prison treating you?" "You son of a bitch," he snarled. "You destroyed my life. I think you have me confused with someone else. You destroyed your own life. I just made sure everyone knew about it." He pushed past me into the house, and I let him. This was exactly what I'd been hoping for. "Where is she?" he demanded. "Marta, she's upstairs." "Marta," I called. "You have a visitor." She appeared at the top of the stairs, looking terrified. She'd been living in a state of constant anxiety for weeks, jumping at every sound, checking the locks obsessively. "Jake, what are you doing here?" "We need to talk," he said, starting up the stairs. "We need to figure out how to fix this." "There's nothing to fix," she said, backing away. "It's over. We're over. Like hell we are. I gave up everything for you, and you're just going to abandon me?" I followed them upstairs, my phone already recording. This was going to be perfect evidence for the restraining order I was planning to file. In our bedroom, Jake grabbed Marta by the shoulders and shook her. "You have to help me. Tell Dana it was all your idea. Tell her you seduced me." "Let go of me," Marta cried, trying to pull away. And that's when I stepped in. "I think it's time for you to leave, Jake." He spun around, his face twisted with rage. "This is all your fault. You turned everyone against us. You ruined everything." "I didn't ruin anything. I just made sure there were consequences for your actions. Something you've apparently never experienced before." He swung at me then, a wild, desperate punch that I easily dodged. I grabbed his wrist and twisted, using his momentum to send him crashing into the dresser. He hit hard, knocking over picture frames and jewelry boxes. "That's assault," I said calmly, still recording. "On top of breaking and entering, harassment, and violating your bail conditions. Dana's going to love this." Jake scrambled to his feet, breathing hard. "You think you're so smart. You think you've won. But I know things about you too, Will. I know you've been stalking us, hacking into my accounts, violating my privacy." "Prove it," I said. He couldn't, of course. Everything I'd done was either legal or untraceable. But his threats were being recorded in high definition. "Get out of my house," I told him, "and don't come back. The next time I see you on my property, I'm calling the police." He looked at Marta one last time, his expression a mixture of rage and desperation. "This isn't over," he said. "Yes," I replied. "It really is." After he left, I called Dana and sent her the video. She had Jake arrested again within the hour, this time for violating his bail conditions and making threats. His new bail was set at $100,000. "He won't make bail this time," Dana told me over the phone. "He'll sit in jail until the trial, and with this new evidence, I can probably get him 2 to 5 years. What about the civil suit? That's going to be even better. Between the embezzlement and the adultery, I can take him for everything. His pension, his savings, his car, everything. He'll come out of prison with nothing but the clothes on his back." I hung up feeling deeply satisfied. Jake was finished, completely and utterly destroyed. Now it was time to focus on the final phase of Marta's punishment. That evening, I sat her down in the living room and poured myself a scotch. She watched me nervously, probably wondering what fresh hell I had planned. I've been thinking about our future, I said. Our future? Well, your future, really. See, I could divorce you. Take you for everything, just like Dana's doing to Jake. Leave you with nothing but debt and shame. Hope flickered in her eyes. But I think there's a better way, a more educational approach. I pulled out a folder thick with documents. These are job applications, retail positions, mostly. Minimum wage work at stores and restaurants around town. Her face fell. Will, I can't. You can and you will. See? You need to learn what real consequences feel like. You've lived your whole life insulated from them. Daddy's money, then my money. Always someone else paying for your mistakes. But not anymore. I spread the applications out on the coffee table. You're going to get a job, a real job, with real hours and real responsibilities. You're going to earn minimum wage and learn to budget. And you're going to do it while living in this house, under my rules, until I decide you've learned your lesson. For how long? As long as it takes. Could be a year, could be 5 years, could be the rest of your life. That depends entirely on how well you demonstrate that you understand what you've done and why it was wrong. She stared at the applications like they were written in a foreign language. What if I refuse? Then I divorce you and make sure you get nothing. No alimony, no property settlement, nothing. You'll end up in a studio apartment working these same jobs anyway, except you'll be doing it alone instead of with my guidance. It wasn't really a choice, and we both knew it. She picked up the first application with shaking hands. I hate you, she whispered. I know, I said, but you'll thank me eventually, when you've learned to be a better person. She filled out applications for the next 3 hours while I watched TV and offered helpful suggestions. By